Hi, everybody. It's good to see you again. I have not been very available the last few weeks, which would be the early part of October. I had a video for you last week with Jennifer and myself, but guess what? For some reason, it never recorded. Like, we recorded it, it's not there. So, we're going to do that again this week, hopefully. And that's why you haven't heard from me. So, what I decided to do today was I've had some incoming information, little blips of things that might be useful to you as either reminders or new pieces of information for your journey forward. So thank you so much for joining me today. Again, for those of you who are not familiar with me, I'm Carolyn. I'm a channel, a distance energy healer, and a spiritual awakening mentor for your soul journey. So if you're interested in learning more about me, you can check out purplerainhealing.com. There's information in the link below in the description box. So with that today, I just want to hit on a few things. First of all, September, with the eclipse season that we had leading into October, I'm telling you, it has, and I'm very curious about what you have been experiencing since then, just because I pick up on patterns and I like to understand kind of what other people are experiencing that can add to that database that I have in my mind. But needless to say, what I'm noticing is that a lot of people's journey as of eclipse season, there was a big turning upside down, like big, huge changes in their journeys. Things that maybe they saw coming but hadn't acted on, and then all of a sudden the universe steps in and goes, nope, we're going to do a Rubik's Cube moment right now. And those of you who have been following me for a while know that a Rubik's Cube moment is where everything gets put together pretty quickly. But I am getting a lot of turned upside down kind of experiences that people have seen in September. Now remember, we don't all have this happen at once. Many of us can probably look back to the last, couple of years and realize, oh my gosh, eclipse season was really difficult for me that year. And here's what it brought to me. We will have other eclipse seasons for other people coming up that will maybe be their time. So again, remember, it's wave upon wave upon wave. We don't all go through this at once because it would be too much energy collectively, all right? So that said, what they've said to me too before, and I think I might have mentioned this in another video, where I was like, well, yeah, but we always have eclipse seasons. We have the same events over and over again every year. What's the big deal? Oh no, it's a big deal because it's not the same energy. It's not just this, oh, we have the same thing happen every year. It depends on where we're at collectively. It depends on where we're at cosmically. It depends on our alignments. But I will tell you that what they've said to me about September leading into October and the rest of the year was that this was like a cumulative effect of what's been going on. And so the upheaval was greater than what we would maybe, I don't want to say normally see, I don't know if there's a normal, but that maybe we've seen previously. So there's a huge upheaval now happening that happened kind of September, October is happening. Remember, it's not just on a certain day at a certain time. So what's happening now is a lot of people are making significant shift and change in their journeys. Big stuff, okay? Big, significant stuff. Anyway, if you're interested in sharing anything that might have occurred with you over this last month, that would be super because, of course, as you know, our experiences help others. And that's why I've tried to create this little community so that we can also share our experiences, not just information coming from me, okay? So anyway, just kind of curious how you're doing on all of that. So let's launch into a couple other things that I wanted to share with you today because they've been coming in. I have information that comes into me as I'm just kind of doing my daily work, and I'll make notes so I can share them with you. So first of all, I want to remind you, I don't think I may have done a video on this quite some time ago. A lot of what we do in this journey is work on things that we have carried forward from our past. Now, that can be past lives, that can be this incarnation. So I'm really kind of speaking right now to this incarnation and things that may have occurred in our early journey that we carried forward and we didn't realize were actually impacting potentially our ability to be all we can be moving forward because we've held that within. Because we do hold our experiences within our body, all right? Because everything's energy, and if we are not, as many of us, most of us have things that we have not either dealt with or realized, and I'll just call it released, if you want to call it that. That's kind of an easy way to think about it. but oftentimes just recognizing it will be enough. So this is inner child work. And I just want to give you a tip. I'm not going to go into all of what inner child work is, but I want to give you a practice for it. So inner child work, just in a nutshell, is us being able to understand some of the things that we had growing up that may have created patterns in our adult life, right? That we don't want to really carry forward, or most of the time we don't even know we are experiencing, or that we're wrapping ourselves up in, until kind of we go through awakening, right? And then we're like, oh, or we have a really major experience where we get knocked on the head and we're like, oh my gosh, I keep doing the same thing over and over again. So the question is why, right? Because what we really want to do, we don't want to go back and relive the trauma. You don't have to go deep into it. You just need to know, wait a minute, that's coming from these times, or kind of revisiting, I don't know, familial upbringing, how it was as a kid around friends, how were you treated, kind of thing. All of that contributes to what we take forward in our journey. So with that, there is, when those things come to the surface, what we can do, and again, I do this work in my services I provide in Purple Rain Healing. It's not listed as inner child work, it's part of the soul journey. But what we do is offer the opportunity for you to, and you can do this yourself, to visit your inner child, your child at any particular age, because all of that is within you. You are the cumulative effect, and also the future effect, which we'll talk about today, but the cumulative effect of who you are, okay? Including past lives. That said, the cumulative effect of the early journey in this lifetime offers an opportunity for us to get to know our child. And it's kind of it can be kind of a fun, exploratory journey to just sit and think about your childhood and like, what was I like? What was my personality? I mean, like, really, it's really kind of neat to do. And I have done it. I need to do it more, because it's like revisiting a part of yourself that we've set aside, and being able to, what was my personality like? What did I enjoy? Where did I spend my time on? Where did I get most of my excitement and love for life? Where did I stress out and have anxiety? All of that. It's really interesting to go back and kind of revisit that in your mind. And then what you can also do, and this to me is incredibly powerful, I've actually done this. I've done this also with past lives. You can use this for past lives, is you're going to go visit your child. Okay, so you go knock on the door of, say, a room, I don't know, a bedroom in your home, but you can just envision this as you go into meditation. You can also do this in the bathtub. It's kind of a little more energetic with Epsom salts, I have found. I do that for past lives as well. And you just go knock on the door, and then you enter. What you want to do then is get a either visual representation, however you get your information, feeling, kind of knowing. And if you say, I don't get information, you're going to have a feeling. You'll have a sense of something, okay? And remember, what you get is real, okay? So trust that, all right? So let's say you walk into the room, you've entered to visit your child, your inner child, at a particular, I don't know, stage in time, because you can do that at all different ages. And he or she is sitting in the corner like this, or crying, or, with their back to you. Or maybe that child is standing here going, oh my gosh, it's so good to see you, kind of thing, right? Can be all kinds of expression. What you want to do first is just let yourself connect in, see what they're expressing back to you, and then what you can do is start the interaction from there. Knowing whether you need to take a gentle approach, whether they may be ignoring you, because I don't know, maybe we've ignored our inner child as an adult, which most of us probably have. Or, wow, they're super happy to see you. What does that mean? And then starting to have that conversation. And when I say conversation, that doesn't have to be words. It can be thoughts, it can be feelings, it can be expressions, it can be visuals. And then really getting a sense of that story from the child's perspective. Okay, you can do this over and over again. You might get a little glimpse of something the first time, but I highly, highly, highly recommend it. You might find it tedious, but I'm going to tell you, most of this work that we do in the spiritual journey kind of how often do we really spend with ourselves to understand ourselves, understand our story, understand our journey. We just keep moving on, right? So again, this isn't a required activity, but I think it's a very, 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 very powerful activity for us as adults now moving into the rest of our spiritual journey. Because what we're doing, as I have mentioned before, and I've been told very clearly, is we are regathering our soul fragments, parts of us who are out here, and we are regathering into the oneness of who we are. We've talked about this before. I won't go into all that into detail, but parts of us are hanging out there that we've either ignored or that have been traumatized or that are fractured for whatever reason, whether it be past lives, inner child, all of that. Okay? So I highly recommend this practice. It's amazing. It's really amazing. And be patient. Maybe you'll walk into your inner child, won't say a darn word, and will have his or her back to you the entire time. And that's okay. You've introduced yourself as the adult in the room, right? And you might be surprised. That child may have more adult in them than you. I've seen that happen too. So anyway, try that little inner child piece because again, it's so powerful how that child can help you move forward when you rejoin them. Okay. All right. So a couple other things I wanted to talk about. This is more just a reminder, and also for some of us, it's the first time we may have heard this. So in this journey, we all want the big things to happen, all the cool stuff, all the big, magnificent, show me a major sign, show me something I can't doubt, show me something miraculous. That's what we want every single day to be. Well, first of all, our life is miraculous. We've just not understood that, right? Everything that we enter into each day is, pretty incredible if you start to think about it. But what they really want you to understand is awakening is literally in the conscious day-to-day journey of the little things. It's the little things that happen. And then along the way, you'll get these cool big things that happen to you, right? Or signs and messages of support. And we think we're supposed to get that all the time, but then wouldn't we just get used to that and then we wouldn't learn anything? So this journey that we're on is about our day-to-day human living. As I've said before, I've always just can't stand errands doing them. Oh, some of the most powerful things that have happened to me in my awakening journey and how I have connected with others have literally happened on errands or things that have taken me out of my way that just are annoying typically. You never know what's going to happen. And if you're open to that and understand, and when you walk out your door, realize, oh my gosh, this is part of my awakening journey. The day-to-day experience that I have. When you take that knowing and feeling and understanding, so much more will open up to you. So much more. And so just understand that what you're doing each day matters. You may think, oh, I'm not doing anything. I'm just going through my human life and my awakening journey. What's going on? Nothing. Yes, it is. Yes, every single thing you're doing, if you're aware, the interactions you have with others, the little smiles that you have, the things that occur in your day, the signs and messages that you get, the little things, the little numbers that we at some point go, oh, I got another number. Okay, can I get something big? At first, those excited us, right? But we go further and further down. We kind of go, oh, there's 1111 again. We get jaded. But what we forget is that the awakening is in the little things each day. It is a patience process, a patience journey. And I just want to remind you of that because they very much came through that to indicate that again to me, that they want you to remember that. Because in these times, we can look out there and just be exhausted and be unaware that what we do each day matters. You may think it's little and doesn't matter in the big scheme of all that's going on out there. Yes, it does. Yes, it does, because you're traveling your own journey that then rolls up into the larger collective journey. Okay? Let's see. I'm going to share one more thing because I have actually quite a list. One thing that I want to mention, and you'll get to this point, and it's a frequency vibrational situation, and I've noticed this very specifically, is how what used to trip you up or trigger you or really get you wired and either upset or maybe also the opposite, overly excited. Overly excited about things like, you get out of your body and you're like, and sometimes you make bad decisions as a result, right? Because you're like super excited about things. What starts to happen, particularly when it comes to getting upset, getting angry, getting worried, is that as we shift in our frequency and vibration, what starts to happen is all that lower frequency, I don't want to call it petty, but often stuff, even worry and fear, it'll come in because our human condition has created that in a 3D way for so long that there's like a little memory there. It'll punch in. You'll feel it for a minute or two. And when I say a minute or two, I mean, I'm talking about a short amount of time than you normally did. So what starts to happen is it sloughs off more. It may land on you and you feel it and you know it. And then before you know it, you've moved right back into your new day-to-day frequency. I hope this is making sense. I know some of you are experiencing this now, where the things that used to take you down the rabbit hole, where you might spend half a day or a day and a sleepless night ruminating over, they're just not that. They just slough off. They slough off. And it is a frequency and a vibrational thing. You will see this in your own journey as you continue to travel that journey and I'm not saying this is like 100%, because what you're going to find is the things that really get you are the ones that may take longer. And, I have a few of my own, but I've really noticed this with myself, but I've got a couple things where that still takes me down a rabbit hole. And I'm like, okay, hold on. This is about trust and faith. This is about letting this go. This is about surrendering, all this stuff, right? So I'm going through that with a couple of things of my own. But what I have noticed is, and I've noticed this with other clients and people that I know, where it's just things just kind of, they just leave. They just float past us or they float over us. And again, that is that difference between living fully in 3D and letting the heaviness of all of those emotions land on us and we carry it forward. But no, as we raise in frequency and vibration in the journey that we're on of building our light body and bringing our fragments back, that can't stick with us. It just can't stick with us. It just can't. It doesn't mean you don't recognize it. You do, but you don't carry it forward for very long. All right. So I think I'm going to stop there. I have a few other things that we could talk about, but I wanted to make this rather short. Jennifer and I, hopefully tomorrow, will be getting together to probably not redo what we had, and it was wonderful. I don't even remember the topics, but because I don't remember my channeling after we usually do it. But we might hit on some of the same things, but regardless, you're going to get a video here within the next 2-3 weeks, because guess what? We're going to November, so the November energy update will be next after this, most likely. Anyway, needless to say, you'll hear from us again soon, and thank you so much for joining me today. I would appreciate it if you like, share, and subscribe so that others can get this information, since, we're all going through this, but we're just not consciously all aware that this is happening. So again, thank you so much for being here today. Check out my link below in the description box where you can see all of my services at purplerainhealing.com. I would be happy to work with you in spiritual awakening mentoring, one-on-one mentoring, channeled messages, past lives, and energy healing. So with that today, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next video.